Hey everybody, so this past weekend, we did 2 parks in a weekend. We went to Kennywood and Hersheypark for their Christmas event. We like Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. It's not even Thanksgiving, but...
It seems very early for these things.
But when it comes to theme parks in the Northeast, like, you got to take it while you can.
There's a very, very small window of Christmas time for parks.
Exactly. So, yeah, Kennywood had some new things. We've never been to Hersheypark, so I don't know if I can say they have any new things, but it was very exciting to check out a new park.
Yes.
But before we get to that, just make sure you hit that like button, and newcomers to our channel, make sure you subscribe. So I know some of you might be a little confused. This might look like an ERT video, but it's not. We're actually just going to be talking Christmas, Kennywood, Christmas, Hersheypark. So let's just jump right into it. We started off at Kennywood, and my first takeaway, without, I guess, burying the hatchet or whatever, their best Christmas event so far?
Yes, 100%. It knocked our socks off. It knocked my socks off.
So the biggest for thrill seekers like myself, Kennywood used to always had Jack Rabbit, the only one that was open. I think they started doing that in like 2021, I think. Maybe 2022. It's been open a couple years. And then this year they finally opened Racer, which having that additional roller coaster really does make a difference. Granted, sure we would all love to have Phantom's Revenge or something like that open, but having that one other roller coaster open was great. And also they had the Wave Swinger, which is just like your traditional swing ride open, which again, really just kind of added another layer of things to do, I guess.
When we were there on Friday night, which was opening night, and technically they did not have Aero 360 open when we were there, but I saw pictures and videos of it. It was open on Saturday night, and it was open on Sunday night as well. So that's another thrill ride to add into the collection.
Yeah. And so yeah, thrill seekers, you'll at least be happy. Like I said, it's not a ton of roller coasters, those two, and you have a little Phantom. But so going beyond that, the other biggest addition I would say is, yes, because the Wave Swinger is over in Lost Kennywood, they kind of added in there, but I don't really feel like that was like a huge addition as much as, is it called Rudolph and Friends? Or
Yes.
So if you all know the, is it just called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the classic?
The very old classic.
Stop motion animation cartoon. So yeah, they have all those characters that you can do a meet and greet with, and I'm not a huge meet and greet kind of person, but I thought they did a fantastic job with this. The creatures looked great. The Abominable Snowman was there. I mean, yeah.
He kind of stole the show.
He does.
I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah, he very impressive. A lot more impressive than I was expecting. Even the snowman, I mean, obviously the snowman was just, I think that was an animatronic, right? It was just a thing that could kind of move back and forth. I don't think there was somebody in there.
I honestly don't know. I thought it was just like a statue type of thing.
It was a statue that moved just a little bit. Like,
but
his
then
arms
it
moved
moved.
back
So
and
then
forth.
I was like, well, maybe there is somebody inside.
I think it's just like a mini. I guess it wouldn't really be an animatronic, but something that just, I guess, can kind of
wobble
a little bit or something.
I don't know.
I would hate to be the employee that have to be stuck in that all day, but I'm sure they would cycle you around, because it looks like they had two. Looks like there was 2 Rudolphs, and I'm sorry to break the magic.
Wow, you were like totally.
For those who are paying attention, I can see when they said, "Oh, the one's gonna go get a drink," and then that was like the world's quickest drink, and the other one comes out. So obviously that's where they're trading out active. Like I said, I'm breaking the magic, but nonetheless, Abominable Snowman. I can never get that word right.
Abominable.
Yes, he looked great.
Well, so did Rudolph, and Clarice is his
they're fine
girlfriend. They're cute. They're so much fun. Well, and I think what made them even better was the set that Kennywood has built.
It really does look like the classic cartoon.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
Like, it looks amazing.
But I guess the reason why I'm so attached to the Abominable Snowman was because we saw Rudolph, and we walked to the section where that other character was supposed to be, and he wasn't there, and we just thought, oh, it's just a cool little place to hang out and take a picture or whatever. And then all of a sudden he came out after we left. We were like, so we had to go through again just so we could see him. My son was a little too terrified to go meet him, but the rest of us enjoyed seeing him.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun and totally different. And like I said, the set looked incredible. The employees who were in the attraction were like very excited and welcoming, and it was just a lot of fun.
So yeah, they had that. The lights, a lot of the lights were pretty much typical to what you would expect at Kennywood from what they've had in the past. They did a couple upgrades here and there. They had the light tunnel last year, which that was kind of like the new, which still looks good. I really like having the light tunnel because it lets you feel like you're going into the experience or something, I guess. I don't know. You don't have that at home. Like, you don't have, maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe some of you have light tunnels that you walk through at home. I don't know. But they upgraded their little mini light show that they have around the lagoon. They've had it in the past, but I think they kind of took it a little bit step up this year.
Well, in the past, it's just been lights that have been around the lagoon that just turn on and off with the music. This year, there's actually like LEDs that like move and change colors, and it's a show.
But yeah, no, to me, the biggest thing was getting the Ride Racer again. So if you obviously want to, if you're not ready to part ways with roller coasters for the year, there's still a little chance there with Jackrabbit and Racer.
You just have to make sure you go when the park is open, when it's warm.
Exactly.
Once it hits, what I don't know what the threshold is.
It's usually like 40 degrees, something like that. So if it's like 30 degrees, chances are they're not going to be running.
It's too cold to run them.
So we did that, and then the next day we went to Hersheypark. So what's interesting about Hersheypark for their Christmas event, they open the park at 12. So
on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, on just Saturdays and Sundays. The park is, I think it's like from 5 to 9 on Friday or something like that. So if the weather is decent, that gets you a little extra time to know that you can grab some more rides. And speaking of rides, yes, again, same concept, except even a little bit more to the extreme. Roller coasters, if you're not ready to part way for the year, definitely go to Hersheypark because they have some of their bigger coasters open. Unlike Kennywood, where, like I said, it's really just Racer and Jackrabbit, which they're family coasters, let's put it that way. Hersheypark, you had Wildcats Revenge, which is arguably the best roller coaster in the park. But regardless, it's one of the best coasters there. You had Candemonium, still a solid roller coaster. They had a Jolly Rancher Remix, if you like that boomerang, whatever. But again, it's a thrill coaster, super duper looper. Then from there, they had Laugh Track, super long line, like family coaster. They had their Wild Mouse, and they also had their kiddie coaster, Coco Cruiser.
Is that all of them?
I think that was all of them, which is a decent lineup of roller coasters that you can do, especially if the park opens at 12. We were able to go get on Wildcats Revenge. In fact, the park was busy, but we probably could have rode Wildcats Revenge again because the line wasn't too bad. Yes. It was like 20 to 30 minutes. So but we went and did some other stuff.
When you considered the lines for the roller coasters when we were in the park at the beginning of the day.
Yes.
Candemonium, Laugh Track, Super Duper Duper.
Super duper.
They were all like 75-minute waits, but we got on Wildcat in like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, 20, 30 minutes. We were going to go to Candemonium first, and it said it was 75. I didn't get a full view of the queue, but I was like, yeah, we can come back later, which worked out in my favor. Later, I waited, 15 minutes? 15 minutes. So, that was a great way to end the day there at Hersheypark, getting on Candemonium. So, but yeah, roller coasters there are stuff to do, and also other bigger thrill rides. Like Kennywood, they have the Aero 3. Did they have the Aero? I know they have it on their list that the Aero 360 is running. I didn't really pay attention to see if it was actually running or not.
Like I said, on Friday night, it was not open.
Okay.
But I saw photos and videos that it was open Saturday night and Sunday night.
So yeah, it is open. Obviously, they have their Spinvasion. There's a couple other flat rides.
The pirate ship, the kangaroo.
Yeah. But some of those kind of merge on, like, you'd say, like, family thrill ride kind of a thing. Hersheypark, they had a couple bigger flat rides, especially they have their drop tower open, which that was fun being able to ride that. I haven't actually ever been on the drop tower. I wasn't able to convince my daughter to go on the biggest one, but they had the very biggest, and then they had the smallest one open. The middle one, the Reese's one or whatever, that one was closed. But yeah, that was fun. It was really nice to get to ride that. And like I said, it's just different options. Obviously, you had the kissing tower. There was the monorail. There's the train. There's considerable more amount of rides to do at Hersheypark versus Kennywood. Obviously, it's a bigger park, and they match that with the amount of attractions there to do.
Well, I was going to say, I would say what, 75% of the rides at Hershey are open? Do you think that's solid?
That might be overestimating.
Maybe
I mean,
70%?
when we're talking about, like, I guess the flat rides, their kiddie rides are kind of sort of scattered around or whatnot. So
they were all open.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about, like, they even had mixed was open. I'm trying to really think, like, which ones were closed.
The only sections of the park that were closed was the hill that goes down for Trailblazer.
Yeah, Trailblazer was closed. I was expecting that roller coaster to be open because it's like a small family coaster, but I guess they just shut down that whole wing, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, that section of the park. But, I mean, otherwise, can you think of any rides that we walked past that were actually closed?
I mean, other than some roller coasters, not really.
So, like, I can't think of any.
Yeah,
off the top
nothing
of
really
my head.
coming top of my head. But yeah, so this is my quick takeaway for if roller coaster folks. Like, you might, like, who cares about the Christmas lights or whatever? That's your thought process. You want to ride roller coasters? If you're within distance, either go to Kennywood or to Hersheypark. I'm going to highly recommend that you go to Hersheypark. So, like, you can ride a bigger coaster like Wildcats Revenge and Candemonium. The biggest thrill coasters at Kennywood are closed. Like, you're not getting on Phantom's Revenge, which I feel like that ride could actually run because that ride really flies into the station, so I feel like it wouldn't really have any worry of valing. But again, I don't know. Maybe that ride has to be 50 degrees to operate. Who knows? And Steel Curtain has been closed the whole year, and it doesn't sound like they'll ever open in the winter anyways, because I think that has a threshold of 50 degrees, if I recall. It was very high, and that ride does have a higher chance of valing. So, and we all know Skyrocket, while that coaster crawls when it's cold. So yeah, that one definitely would not open. But yeah, that's the only thing I feel like the takeaway is. It's nice that they now have Racer and Jackrabbit at Kennywood open. But yeah, if they just had that one extra coaster, man, that would really just send their holiday lights like
you just want all of
through
the
the
roller
roof.
coasters.
Well, of course I do. I mean, that's obviously what I go to the parks for is roller coasters. But Hersheypark on that, definitely a win. It was really great to get one last ride of the year on Wildcats Revenge and Candemonium. So instead of feeling you're going out of like, oh, hey, I got the road, like Little Phantom or Coco Cruiser. It's like, no, I ended the day on Candemonium. So, but again, pay attention to the weather. If it's too cold, they just can't operate them anyways. But the fact that they open at noon gives you a higher chance that they probably will at least open until the sun goes down. Depending on how cold it is, obviously.
It depends on
But it gives you a little bit more of that buffer. Mm-hmm. However, if we go focus on the Christmas aspect, I felt like Hershey, again, I don't know how long they've been doing their Christmas event, but if I were to compare that to Kennywood, I feel like the Christmas aspect, Kennywood wins. I feel like the light display is a little bit better at Kennywood. Maybe it's just because the park's a little bit more consolidated. All their lights are right there. So when you walk in, it's just like you're surrounded by lights. As versus Hersheypark, there was a lot of dead spots. You could say as you're walking around, like there's some places that look really nice. Don't get me wrong. Some really nice looking light displays. But yeah, I felt like I was seeing a lot more of like the dead spots. Now, I think their Christmas light display is probably all focused on their drive-through, which is called Sweet Lights. It's like a couple miles down the street. It's a separate attraction. It's a separate ticket. So yeah, if you're looking for your lights, that might be where they're kind of directing to you. But if you're looking for the whole amusement park experience, I guess you go to Hersheypark. However, I'm going to compare again with the food, with Kennywood to Hersheypark. It's kind of tough to say because we didn't really go to every stand around the park, but there was nothing that was screaming at me like, oh, I got to go to this stand for... Like, they had, like, s'mores. I guess that just doesn't really get me. Like, oh, I got to get s'mores at Christmas.
Derek isn't a s'mores fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hot chocolate. Everybody has hot chocolate. I don't know. But at Kennywood, I felt like they had a little bit more going on. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. And they have a lot of places that you can sit inside at Kennywood. At Hershey, there's a couple, but we were really racking our brains trying to figure out where you could sit indoors, especially for like evening, you want to have dinner. The only place we could think of was over by Great Bear. It's like the Great Bear Pavilion or whatever it is.
It's called the Overlook Cafeteria.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's called. It's the only place that we could think of that we could find that
other
was, like,
than the chocolate tier. Yeah, well, chocolate tier is technically outside of the park.
That would be in the park that you could be inside and, get warm if it's really, really cold. And sit down and eat something.
Yeah, there's covered places to sit down, but yeah, there was nothing I could think that gets you. As versus Kennywood, You can obviously go to the burger carousel or carousel. I always get it wrong. I don't know.
It's called Carousel Burger.
Carousel Burger. So you can sit down inside there. They have their the cafe. Again, I'm horrible with these things.
Parkside Cafe.
Yeah, the Parkside. That's why she's here. And then again, I can't remember the name, but their new bar that they opened.
Oh, now I can't remember.
We both can't remember. I'll just put it above our heads, and you can make fun of us for forgetting. But nonetheless, that was open. There was a couple. It's not huge. There's like a couple seats in there. So
Jeter's. It's called Jeter's Pub.
Yeah, there you go. Jeter's Pub. You can go inside and sit down in there.
They also always have heaters in, so right next to the potato patch, there is a section of like seating. It's not enclosed, but they always have heaters in there, so there is some warmth.
Well, yeah, everybody's got to get their potato patch, except for, I don't know, I guess us. I don't know. It's been a while since I've actually purchased potato patch fries. Know anything about it?
I know.
It's probably been a few years.
We have other things in the park that we gravitate
towards.
Well,
yeah. There's like I said, I feel like Kennywood has just a great selection of food. And then the next thing I would say is if you are going not looking for roller coaster, let's say you don't really care to ride a roller coaster, again, I'm still going to recommend you to Kennywood because if you're going with, like, say, kids 6 and under, I feel like they have a more selection of kiddie rides. And then outside of that, like I said, they got the Rudolph and Friends, and then they have that indoor train display, which is, again, that gets you out of the cold and you get to walk around and check out this very massive, impressive train display. Which, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but we didn't mention it. At Hershey Park, they do have Meet Santa, and there was a path that you can see reindeer. So there was some extra stuff, and again, I felt like it was kind of like their version of like the Rudolph and Friends, or maybe Rudolph and Friends was their version of Hershey Park's. I don't know.
Well, no, from what I understand, the way that it's set up this year with the reindeer and Santa, that's new. That's new for this year.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. I finally understood yesterday while waiting in line for the reindeer why they sell adult alcoholic beverages. Because, wow, when you stand in that line for like 30, 40 minutes to go see the reindeer and you realize all you really did is you just kind of just walked through that barn. It almost felt like they could have just kind of kept the people moving and you would have saw what you wanted to see, I guess. Because it was very much a viewing distance. It wasn't like you were up and close and you maybe got to reach and pet one. No, it's just you get to look at them. That's all it was. And it moved super slow because I think people kind of got confused when they got in there. Like, what are we supposed to do? And like, nope, you just walk through and you go out. And then there's a completely separate line to see Santa. Still another long wait. So
very long
if you get in the one line not realizing that you're doing both, which there was a lot of people thought that they were doing both, because it's a little confusing.
Incredibly clear which line was which, and at one point it looked like we were in the Santa line, and we were like, "Wait, are we going over there?" It was confusing.
Which is why I would say I could see why the adults would then go grab that drink to help them make it through the next line, because it'll just make the day so much better. Right? Smile on your face.
Speaking of Santa, you can also go meet Santa at Kennywood.
Yes.
They move him every single year. You can tell that they're just trying to find a good spot.
He's like Santa with ADHD because he just bounces around every year.
This year he's in Lost Kennywood. They have him in the one corner of the gift shop.
And if you ask me, I think he seemed lost over there.
He seems a little lost over there. I don't know.
She doesn't mind it. I thought he just seemed, I don't know, he just seemed a little out of place. I really thought he did well over in the Thomastown in that building. I thought it just fit well. The building looks kind of neat and it kind of goes along with, I don't know, it makes me think like Polar Express or something,
Maybe.
I guess. I don't know. So it has this more Christmas. Instead, he's just over in the one gift shop in Lost Kennywood, and he's just like there.
Well, I feel like, okay, but he fills out that section of the park because you have, if you walk down, you have the Potato Smash open, the bumper cars, then you have the Music Express open, which is new for 2024. You have the Wave Swinger open, and then you would have this whole section of the park that would just be dead.
Yeah.
It's dead space. So they put Santa there as a way to fill that space. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think they finally opened Lost Kennywood, so I feel like maybe this is a stepping towards to expanding next year or the year after. Maybe we'll see Exterminator open or the Whip. I was almost kind of surprised they didn't open the Whip, but again, because they closed that. That's all you have left is that very small loop that wraps around the Pittsburgh Plunge that they have closed. So I feel like it's just, let's just open that. You can have the whip. I mean, that to me, that seems like a no-brainer. That thing can run all year long. So
we'll get there. I feel like we'll get there. I feel like in the next year or the year after, we will see the entire park open.
If
for
they
holiday
continue
lights.
pushing some of the numbers that we've seen in the past. Now, we were there on Friday and it was kind of drizzling, so we weren't expecting the park to be busy. And sure enough, it was not busy because I think everybody's
totally
expecting
fine.
it to really rain. And it was kind of like the end of the rain. So it kind of worked out for us that
it worked out great.
it pretty much stopped raining when we got there. It stayed in like the low 50s. All the rides were running.
It was good. And
yeah.
it was opening weekend, and if you looked at the forecast for the rest of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday's weather was really beautiful, sunny in like the upper 40s, low 50s. And so I feel like most people probably looked at it and was like, we'll go on Saturday or Sunday and we'll skip the rainy day.
I was going to say Saturday and Sunday were supposed to be like sunny skies. So yeah, I bet you that park last night was slammed, and they're probably pretty busy tonight as well because we're recording this on a Sunday. So, And same thing with Hershey Park. Hershey Park, that was what, supposed to be in the 60s. However, there was like it was kind of weird. I went there expecting maybe I'm going to be overdressing. They're going to be too cold during the day because there's that 12 to 7, 8, however late you're going to stay. So in the day, you're probably going to feel a little bit warmer. However, there was like this breeze, this wind that was just blowing through. So yeah, it was kind of nice that we dressed a little bit warmer because the sun was nice, but you had that breeze. So it kind of, I guess, balanced it out. So even when the sun went down, it obviously did get colder, but I didn't feel like it was a huge extreme, I guess. I don't know.
Dress warm, dress lots of layers. Whenever you go to any of these events, lots of layers. You can always take a jacket off.
Yeah, wear layers instead of wearing like a super puffy jacket because that gets a little more problematic getting on rides or whatnot. But I say, more of the layers. Think like thin layers or what, I don't know. That's me. But so Hershey Park, fantastic that you can ride the roller coasters again. To me, that's the main selling point for right now is you can still ride Wildcats Revenge. You can still ride Candemonium. And I thought both coasters were actually running pretty good in the cold. So, I mean, Wildcats Revenge seemed a little bit slower, I would say. Just a touch. It wasn't felt like out of control crazy. But like I said, it was still enjoyable. In Candemonium, it might have been a touch slower, but the trims, I don't think the trims were hitting either because it was cold. Obviously, they can't slow it down too much, probably afraid it would valley. So you actually got a little bit airtime over that final airtime hill going around the fountain. So that's a plus, I guess. But okay, the final thing we have to talk about at Hershey, other than we always have to go over to Chocolate World and we ride the chocolate ride. Mm-hmm. It's like we do that every single time we go.
You have to. You can't
it's
go
right
to
there.
Hershey and skip the chocolate ride. You just
and
have
it's
to
nice,
go ride
especially at wintertime. Again, it's another thing to do to get you out of the cold if you kind of need a break. And then if maybe you're ready to go back into the park for a couple hours. But we did it on our way out because we went over and we checked out the Sweet Lights, which was their drive-through light display. So, I don't know, what did you think of the light display?
It was way longer than I was expecting.
Yeah, they said it's over 2 miles, and I definitely believe them. Because at one point, you kind of thought it was done. And then all of a sudden, it's like, no, you're going to drive up the mountain or something.
Yeah, because the only lights you can see from the road are in this field. And I was like, that's it, right? And then you kind of come to the end and you do a nice, sharp right-hand turn, and then you're in the woods.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it's a little over 2 miles. That's what they're advertising. There's a lot of displays. Some of them that I kind of feel were a little on the repetitive, maybe. And then when you go up into the woods, they did have like this. It was like the Northern Lights display, which was probably one of the. I think it was probably one of the cooler things because it was all like those like LED lights, or not LED lights, but it was like projection.
Projection, yeah.
So that looked. I think it was just kind of a nice variety. However, I guess my big takeaway is, I don't know. I guess if you're really into these things, you might like it. Be wary that the prices do vary. I think if you buy it online, if you buy it online, it's cheaper, if I recall.
Okay.
But if you buy there at the park, I'm sorry, not the park, but at
the entrance.
The entrance, it can be like $50 for car, which I was like, oh wow. Which is a little on the pricier side. Now, granted, we did kind of look around, and it seems like other places that do these things, it's around like $30. So I guess it's not extreme, but it took us all in all. I mean, we drove pretty slow.
We did. We crawled.
I wasn't going to rush because I'm usually the impatient person that would be, like punching it. Like, let's get through this thing, But I took it really slow. I think it took us like half an hour.
That sounds about right. 20,
something
30
like
minutes,
that.
Something like that.
So it's a decent little enjoyable thing, especially if you really like that pleasure of sitting in your car where it's warm.
Yeah, listening to Christmas music.
You have Christmas music blasting. You could have your hot chocolate with you if you picked it up before you got there. And yeah.
I mean, my favorite was toward the beginning when they had the light displays that were like Hershey light displays. They had some of the roller coasters. They had like the Hershey Kiss and like some of the displays that were specific to Hershey. Like those were my favorite because they're unique. You wouldn't see them anywhere else.
Yeah. So final takeaway. Again, if you're looking for the roller coasters, go to Hersheypark. That is my big takeaway. If you're looking for the true full Christmas experience, I think you're going to get a little bit more out of Kennywood. And if you have the youngest kids, you'll probably enjoy Kennywood a little bit more.
Well, and the other reason I think, especially if you have young kids or if you're going as a group or with family, Kennywood is smaller.
Easier to walk around.
It's much easier to walk around, and there's so many lights and so many things to look at. There's different shows and so many different attractions that are good for all ages. So Kennywood just has a really good balance.
And just be prepared to spend more money in the park than you would expect. The main reason why I say that is because when it's cold, sometimes you just get cold and you just need that hot beverage. As somebody like, I don't really ever, buy or, splurge. You're probably going to do it a little bit more when you're at one of these events. So just be prepared for that, I guess.
Isn't that the moral of the story?
Yeah.
Whenever you go to any amusement park, you're going to spend more money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't get really carried away with souvenirs and whatnot. But yeah, both events still, regardless where you live, both events are great. They both have their pros and somewhat cons. Yeah. Enjoy the holidays because this is it. I mean, the coaster season is going to be wrapping up here. And it's like I said, it's going to even get too cold to where these roller coasters might not be running in December. We'll see. But yeah, enjoy it while you can. And thanks for watching. This is Extreme Thrills.